Confederacy of dunks. Toronto Raptors. Scotty B. We the North, baby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Rivas. Laughing at me already is Andy Hull. And we have a very special draft guest, Matt Mcready. What's up, Matt? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so excited to be back on the greatest Raptors podcast in the world. Can I swear on that?
Yep.
Awesome. Prepare for some swear words.
Yeah, say the nastiest ones, please. I want to shout out John Rallis, who I always try and get, because I feel like you, Matt, and John are the most sort of like researched into the draft people I know. And, you know, you really sort of like comb through everything and, you know, stay tapped in. And I always call it George's Chicken. It's not George's Chicken. It's George's Deli and Barbecue, Bathurst and Bloor. It's his family-run restaurant. Eat there. Enjoy. He's great.
I think I've done the podcast with him twice. He's great. He's really nice guy.
He's awesome. He's working in horse racing. Yeah. He's in the sports world, killing it. Okay, let's sort of, you know, start with the finals, right? So closer game, game 2, Boston, feel like sort of, I don't want to say they were playing with their food because it was a competitive game, but about, I don't know, like sort of inching towards the third quarter, I started to feel like the game was there wasn't a real chance that Dallas was going to win. Just, you know, before I get to the question here, this just made me think of other finals, but before I get to that, what's your thoughts on these finals, Matt?
I'm like the villain or the heel or the bastard, if we want to swear. And the B words out, guys. Like every single like group chat that I'm part of for basketball right now, because I just really like watching the Celtics play basketball. It reminds me a lot of those like Spurs teams back in the day, like just so much drive and kick. I love a defensive backcourt. Porzingis is wacky. So I've enjoyed watching the finals. I'm like in the big minority there. Listen, we all hate Boston. We hate Boston. It's fun to hate Boston. Bill Simmons is like the most annoying man on the planet. Ryan Russillo's even worse somehow. But what can I say, man? Aesthetically, the team, it pleases me.
I just want to say,
it's very good basketball.
Thanks. It's very good basketball. I agree, Matt. They're a fun team to watch. I also just want to say thank you so much coming to us live from inside of a fancy club's women's washroom. Really good for you to do that for us. It's like one of those nice ones where it's like it's painted all black and there's like one really nice mirror. You know, you did.
There's a guy there like drying your hands.
Yeah. Cool.
For those who are just listening to the podcast, I'm on a toilet right now. It's gorgeous and gold.
Yeah. Oh, they can tell because of the sound, I'm sure, that it's a bathroom.
They know.
They know.
Yeah, I want to say with this Boston team, I feel like a bona fide. I mean, we talked about this on the podcast last week, Andy, but you know, I'm like it's not even we're not a rival to Boston, right? We're nothing to Boston, right? And it's just a jealousy thing. They just win a lot and they're really good.
Specifically, they win against us. That's where our, I think, wannabe rivalry comes from. They beat us in the playoffs a couple times where it's like, and they beat us in other sports that we hate. We really hate the Boston Bruins very much.
Just a better sports city in so many ways.
They're undeniably one of the most successful sports cities of the last 50 years, basically. So yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic ball movement. To your point, Matt, everyone is coming in and like focused and, you know, has a good role. And there's just so much talent. The nucleus is good. They don't really have any weaknesses.
No,
I feel
it's
like,
crazy.
yeah, we want to see them tested, right? But sometimes that doesn't happen. Like they can't choose to have a good team play them.
I mean, they have a good team playing them now. Like Dallas didn't have a good, another thing I like about the finals is that it does feel like it's an awesome, like, okay, you have a superstar and then you have a team basketball. I love the contrast on that. And Luka has played out of his mind. Like watching that game, I was like you. I was like, there's no chance, not no chance, very little chance that Dallas was going to be able to pull away with that because the shots that Boston were getting were just wide open shots every single time. Like Luka was occasionally creating these awesome shots for the team, but like not with the consistency that Boston was able to get like these open corner threes constantly. It was crazy. Outside of when Tatum decided to try to go like 1-on-4, it was basically a good shot every single time on the floor.
Yeah, well, one of the first plays of the game, well, the first like 2 plays of the game were a microcosm for the whole game. It felt like it was when Dallas got the ball, like they win the tip off, right? Luka, it gets to Luka. He's like 14 feet. He does his patented like fade away, but like had to do it through like 2 or 3 guys and like with some struggle. But he hit the shot. Like, that's what he does, right? He's insane. Then in transition, the Celtics just throw it to a wide open Drew Holiday, and it's in for an easy 2, and that's it. And like everyone else on the Mavericks are like, who's covering him? You know what I mean? Like that was totally a microcosm. Luka fighting to keep his team competitive, and then no one else really being there to help out when it comes to, defense or whatever, right? Like at any level, really. And it's so funny because like we've spent the last like 10 years in the NBA watching these super teams and basically being told that like a well-balanced deep team isn't the recipe for success to when it comes to winning an NBA finals, right? You need 2 or 3 superstars and you play them into the ground and and you just hope that they don't get injured and they win you the finals, right? Like that's what we've been taught for all these years. But obviously this is changing, and the Celtics are just like, well, we've been a team that's been together for a long time. They have their superstars, obviously. It's not like they don't have their like big 2 or whatever, but it's not, it's obviously not the same.
They kind of remind me of the, and then I'll jump into the question here because, yes, Luka is unstoppable, but there is a sort of kind of like foregone conclusion, sleepy aspect to this finals. Like, I think it doesn't really seem like the tide is going to turn. Who knows? Whatever. Maybe they go to Dallas, everything changes. Hopefully it gets tighter. Dallas steals a game. But it sort of feels like it's reminding me of the first time that the Cavs played the Warriors' first championship, where the Warriors kind of came out of nowhere, but like they were really, really good and they were coming. And, yes, the Cavs were injured, but the Warriors were a really complete team. And like at that time, it wasn't like Draymond superstar, Clay superstar. The team was so crazy deep. And I feel like Boston has a little bit of that going on where, to your point, yeah, I guess Tatum's superstar. Depending on what you think of Brown, I think Brown's kind of like in between stars, superstar. And
this is a really good series for Brown, though, because like his defense is so crucial for keeping individual coverage for Doncic and not allowing him to spray the ball all over the court. Like he might not be a superstar against like a lot of the teams in the league, but I think he has superstar impact in this series.
I agree. And then, you have a guy like I've been watching Drew. I think Drew Holiday is a good example of someone who kind of looks like he's having an easier series than the championship series he had for Milwaukee.
Well, think of all Phoenix. Think of like how much of the share of the like the main attention of the team he had when he was playing for the Bucks. He's the number 3-2 guy, you know what I mean? Arguably, depending on the game, probably. But whereas like on this Celtics team, he can easily like if he can just focus on his defensive assignment if that's what the game is calling for. He can be like the 4th even fifth option. I mean, here this game he scored 26 points. He was the highest scorer, right? Like on the team. That's great. That's amazing. Now next game, it's going to be a different guy who's going to step up and have that game, right? It's like that's, I feel like, how did we overlook the importance of this type of thing? I guess though it's tough to put this high quality of 5 starters together though, right? Like it's just tough.
I will say,
you can't just do that.
Like, yes, I think the super team era is dead, but there were a couple of attempts this year. Phoenix obviously didn't go well. Milwaukee obviously didn't go well. But this, I remember when they got Kristaps, I was like, I don't really get it. Like, Smart is amazing. He's such a huge part of this Celtics team. But when they got Drew Holiday, I was like, oh, okay. This is such a complete team.
Yeah, exactly.
That they're sort of, they're not like a superstar, like,
it's not like a LeBron, Wade, Bosch super team. It's not a KD, Steph, Clay super team, but it is a super team. It's 5. It's like all of the, like, they could all be all stars. You know what I mean? They're starting 5 essentially. So like,
and that's 64 wins.
Team. And I will
they like cruise through the season.
Oh, of course. And like, the super team era is over.
Boston Dynasty.
I can't hear. It sounds like you're in the toilet, Matt. No one can hear you. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead. Say it again. Say what you say.
I was gonna say it sounds like it's gonna be a. Are you ready for a Boston Dynasty? Is what I said.
Okay. Well, I mean, it feels like this would have been near the middle or end of one, as opposed to they're gonna start it up. But maybe. What I was gonna say though, the super team era, the super team era is over. But it's not gonna be the end of teams going for the super team like route. Do you know what I mean? And they're obviously like, I don't know, the last super team has not won its title. Like there will be super teams that will win. But I agree with you that like the main way we're trying to make teams win championships being the super team, I think that like way of thought is what's going to be over. Now, Matt, from the rough waters of the golden toilet, what's Matt going to say?
I didn't have anything to add. I think you guys covered it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were waiting to say something. That's why
I thought you were going to introduce the idea of a Boston dynasty.
I think like that's the only. I feel like it's a possibility. Like the thing is about their books right now is, assuming nobody breaks down and Porzingis is like the most likely one, they don't have any bad salary that's like clogging their books. Like the Raptors have like $17 million tied up with Boucher and McDaniel. They have nothing like that. All their players are making like $30 million, and there's like 5 or 6 of them. But like, it's just a good use of cap. Like their cap sheet just looks so good right now. They can afford to keep all these good guys.
Yeah, how long? Like, Ainge into Stevens has been like, it's been solid. Stevens has been a pretty incredible GM so far. Okay. So here was my finals idea for a question though. What, you guys have been watching NBA finals your whole lives, like me. What is the most boring finals, like in your memory? It doesn't like, you don't have to have like perfect evidence for it, but you felt maybe it was a foregone conclusion, maybe the stars were injured, whatever. I have a good candidate if you want me to lead this off, but Matt, I'm going to go to you first. Is there a finals you remember being sort of, not entertaining for whatever reason? Less entertaining?
If you said this question, I didn't see it, but I have an answer immediately. And it's way back in the day. And it's the Nets versus the Lakers. Jason Kidd.
No way. That's what I was going to say.
I mean, that was brutal. It was like an annihilation. There was no chance they could. That was a sweep, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was brutal.
4 games. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say the exact same thing. I just remember, well, like, so I was a lot younger back then, and I didn't enjoy watching other teams as much.
By the way, there's 2 of those.
I'm thinking of 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, there's Spurs Nets. My bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Also not good.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch. Yeah, exactly. I didn't watch I don't know about you. I didn't watch a lot of the Lakers run to the finals, which I feel like must have been better, but maybe not. Is it
the finals series were great back in those days.
See, and I didn't really watch those. I don't maybe West Coast. I guess I just wasn't really tuned in. I knew the Lakers were great and all that, but I hated them also back then. But then watching this finals, I absolutely remember. I'm because are you guys like me? I'm an Eastern Conference person. I'm cheering for the Eastern Conference most times. If everything else being equal, the Raptors are in the Eastern Conference. That's where I'm cheering. The Jays are in the American League. I'm an American League guy. I'm going for the American League team. If again, all things being equal, no hated teams involved. So I'm just oh man, we got the Nets. Come on, man, the Nets are our team in this. That's the best we can put up against the Lakers. I'm and then just
That was the team the East deserved, though. The East was so bad in those days. The East, they represented the East perfectly.
Yeah. Just Jason Kidd and Richard Jefferson, right, on that team, I think.
Yeah, Kenyon Martin.
Martin, yes. #1 draft pick.
Unlike you, Andy, I am burdened by a different hierarchy of teams I root for, and it has nothing to do with conferences. It's all who hasn't won the championship, and then it's if they both have won the championship, who's won it less, and then I have a whole thing where I'm jealous / frustrated at markets that I perceive
this all comes
easier than others.
This all comes into play for me as well.
So for me, West or East, I don't care. If this was whatever, Thunder Heat, I'd be rooting for the Thunder.
Heat for life.
Heat for life.
No.
Set out of a burp too.
Yeah, exactly.
Heat for life, set out
Heat
of a bubbly burp. Huge. Okay, mine is also. Sorry, did you have something, Matt?
No. I was going to say Thunder culture. That's all.
Thunder culture, yeah. Mine is also the Lakers, and by the way, you guys were 2002. Yeah. Mine was 2009. So my 2009 championship. This is the Lakers against the Orlando Magic. So this was supposed to be. This was the time where Kobe and LeBron were supposed to play each other.
All right.
Cleveland was better than Orlando, and Orlando just got hot. Interestingly enough, Orlando got hot with very modern basketball because they basically just had Dwight Howard and Stan Van Gundy coached a team that was the whole team was drive and kick, and they had Rashard Lewis who just stood in the corner and just drained threes, and
Jameer Nelson too,
and
right?
Hito Turkoglu, who the Raptors.
I remember. Yes,
somehow,
we got Raptors legend on that team, Rafer Alston.
Alston, nice one.
He was awesome in that playoffs. He was real. It was the best he ever played.
Skip to my Lou. One win. And the thing is, yes, that Lakers team was good. They were deserving. They were the champions, but they weren't. Yeah, it was one of those things where you want to see that team tested more, and the Magic were just happy to be there, and it was not really competitive. Lakers in 5. So that's my kind of that's my answer to that as well. Okay, let's go to number 2 here.
That feels a lot like what this year's series is, kind of. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, Magic are happy to be there, and they got some good players, but they lost in 5 games. And I kind of feel like that's going to happen to the Mavs here.
Yeah. The only thing about this one though is I still am holding out some hero stuff from Luka. And I didn't feel I never felt in that series. The net series, you guys, there was who was Shaq up against? Was it Todd McCullough? I forget who it was, but it was
I think Mutombo might have been in that one.
Oh, Mutombo, yeah, sorry, who was good, but he was someone else who got murdered by Shaq on a regular basis.
Shaq loves to talk about how he dominated Dikembe.
Yeah, and Mutombo was amazing, but he was one of the guys. I mean, I guess mostly everybody. But Mutombo just got killed. Okay, let's do some draft talk. I think we'll probably have two more episodes before the draft, But you know, it's high time we get into it. I've been, you know, Matt, I know, you know, I'm going to let you take the floor here because, you know, I know you've been scouring the internet, finding.
I'm a big draft loser. I love reading about the draft, watching draft videos. Like, yeah, it's one of my biggest problems as a partner to my wife is my love of the draft.
I wish someone would pay you for it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, is it like, has the consensus been this volatile the whole time? Like from every, you know, I have like 5 tabs up, and I can't believe how like different they all are.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's crazy. It's like, for a draft nerd like myself, it's an incredibly exciting draft because I truly have no idea any of the picks how they're going to go. Especially when Atlanta won too, because they really don't even know what their team is, because they could lose, you know, either Trey or DeJounte or maybe both. So like they can go in any direction. They could trade the pick. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, this must be, you know, since the play-in, this must be the first play-in team to get the first overall pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Which is crazy. So yeah, let me ask you this: who is the? I'm sure you got a couple, but like who? We'll bounce back and forth. Who is the most exciting player to you for whatever reason?
I'll go for a player that I assume every person who's listening to this podcast knows, and the most exciting player in the draft for me by far is Zach Edey. I am so excited to see who picks Edey, where he goes. I think I'm so much higher on Edey than anyone else I know, basically, in terms of him as a prospect. I think he's going to be quite good. You know, there's, you know, Bill Simmons was talking about why isn't Klingon like the number 1 pick in the draft? And I saw them go up in the finals, and Edey outplayed him, like just straight out outplayed him. I don't think their mobility is much different. I don't really understand why Klingon, who doesn't have to deal with the most intense offensive workload in the league, being driven by a coach who insists that he not foul out. I don't know why Klingon's offensive upside is that much better than Edey's, and offensively, it's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, because me and you were talking about this a little while ago, you know, I was sort of parroting a lot of the stuff I had heard, and also I think in all fairness, was probably too influenced by his Team Canada outing last summer, where he just didn't look, you know, when he did play as fast as you know you need to be in the league. But I mean, you know, he certainly couldn't be stopped this year, and yeah, that's a good point with Klingon, because I'm like, one draft I'm looking at now, Klingon's number 7 and Edey is 16, something like that. So it's like I don't see why they're that far. Oh, sorry, Edey's 24 in this one. So, you know, I don't see why they would be that far off. Also,
and I mean, Klingon's got foot issues too. Like he's had like some injury concern. Maybe not foot, maybe it was leg. I might be wrong on that. But you know, Edey has basically played every minute down the stretch of the NCAA tournament and plays an incredible workload and has never had a major injury. He didn't grow up playing basketball, so he doesn't have those like stress fracture issues that a lot of the top prospects have. He was a hockey guy. He was a baseball guy. He was an athlete, but not necessarily a basketball athlete. Like when it comes to like big men like that, like you look at like Elijah Wan came up with soccer. You have Jokic, who came up playing water polo. I feel like a diversification of athletic interests for these giants can be nice for their long-term viability as a healthy NBA player. But who knows?
I'm really hesitant to make this comp just because he was such an incredible, unique player. But is there any like Zach Edey, Yao Ming?
Yeah,
because he's 7'4", 300 pounds. Like
yeah,
that's
another thing that gets overlooked a little bit is that he's 7'4". Like I don't think he's going to be that much less mobile than like, I don't know, Brooke Lopez at 36 years old, you know? Like, I think like when you have that incredible size and he gets coached to a degree of like, you're allowed to foul a little bit. You're not going to have to be the focal point of every single offensive possession. But yeah, when it comes to like Yao, it's like, yeah, they've got like a soft touch. They're enormous. They set good screens. They're team players, like first and foremost. They've been coached to death. Like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty good comp.
I like it.
I don't think like Edie's going to be like the best center in the league, but in a draft that looks really bad, I don't understand where he is. It's basically the clip notes of it.
I'm trying to find like, because all I like when I was, you know, when I would see anything during the NCAA tournament, everyone had nothing but good things to say about this guy. Obviously, very impactful player. And now I'm just trying to be like, what's the rub? Is it simply that like he's not like a big, like he's not an outside shooter. He's not going to be he's not the quickest guy. You know, when you're looking for a big man, like, is that what it is? Like, I don't.
There are concerns with Edie, and it's mostly defensively and how he's going to do outside of like a strict drop coverage defensively. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to slide with guards at all. I don't think Lingen's going to be able to slide with guards at all. I think most centers in the league can't. I don't think like
exactly like that. You're talking about most of the guys, right? Like
Porzingis can't. You know, like it's and there's like Dalton Connect, who's like a top 10 prospect. In I think it was the Sweet 16, drove on Edie down the lane, and Edie stayed with him and swatted him at the rim. And he's like connects like a really good athlete. So there's data points that show that he should be okay, but who knows? Again, who knows? He might be terrible. We'll see.
I feel like we're hearing a lot about him, obviously, because we're in Canada, so people are excited about him for that way. Yeah. And obviously, he's in a range where the Raptors could possibly get him. Whether or not that's something Raptors fans want, it seems like they're not really that hot on it.
I'm on an island, even more so than Boston, for my love of Zach Edey.
I love it.
Yeah, I also think it's a good point about 7-footers. Like Claxton can't hang with guards. Like, there's just not a lot of 7-footers, maybe like Wembanyama. But there's not a lot of guys that are bigger than 7 feet that can get switched onto a pick and roll and like look absolutely comfortable. Like it's like really, it might actually only be Wembanyama and like Gobert at times, but Gobert even can't. Yeah, he's defensive player of the year. So, Andy, do you have your guy? Or you want me to jump in here?
No, I got my guy, and it's funny because I'm looking at a couple mocks as well, and seeing like where guys are. Because I'll be honest, I'm not a big draft guy, and I never have been with any sport really. And like I've been a sports fan my whole life. The draft for some reason is not. You know what my attitude towards most drafts are? We'll see them when they get in the league. Tell me about them when they're playing for a team. That's that like I get excited for prospects once they're around. Oh, the Leafs drafted this guy, or the Jays drafted this guy. Sure, let's see. Okay, great. And now I know about him. Awesome. But like pre the actual draft, I've been very bad about like paying attention to stuff. For every sport.
I think that's a healthy way to go through life, to be honest.
But I love like hearing you talk about it. I really like that. Like, and I listen to. Obviously, I consume a lot of sports media, and there's obviously always a lot of draft coverage, and I do enjoy draft coverage. I just don't retain any of it. Anyways, my answer is Bronny James, and the reason for that is
it looks like surface level thing.
He comes with the Hall of Fame best player of all time.
Yeah.
How can anyone be more exciting than that? You know what I mean? No, but that's a joke answer, but it also is my real answer. There's only one person on this CBS sports draft thing has Bronny in their top, like in their first round, and they just have it that the Lakers pick him so that they can keep LeBron. Like, do we really think that's gonna happen? Like, are we serious about this? Like, it's not happening, right? Like,
right? I don't think so, but who knows, right? Like, the Lakers have done a lot of wacky things for their stars in their past.
It's true. It's true. And I mean, if there's any draft to do it in, right? Like, I feel like if there is a draft to do it in, this is probably the one. Like the timing is kind of perfect for it to happen.
There are a lot of strikes on Bronny, but there are you can make the argument that you could take him in the first round. Like going into the season, he was like a top 12 player on some boards. ESPN, Jonathan Givony, he's like one of the top draft guys, had him 12 on his board, and he's got NBA athleticism. He's got a good shot. But he had a major heart issue and then struggled coming out of that as a teenager going into the highest level of competition he's ever played in. So, sure, who's to say how reflective this season was of him as a prospect? So, I mean, if you want to take him early, he's undersized for his position. He doesn't seem to have the guard skills in terms of playmaking, but maybe he'll be a defensive stopper who can hit some threes and be a bench guard. Totally plausible.
And it feels like that's a halfway decent thing to get in this draft, to be honest. And the fact that it comes with keeping LeBron James on your team, I don't know. That's a pretty massive upside. You know what I mean? I take it. Yeah.
I will say one of the funniest ideas is I'm looking DraftNet has Bronny mocked at where I was just looking at it. Has Bronny mocked by Washington in the 52nd pick. So if Washington took Bronny at 52 and LeBron James comes to Washington, that has to be one of the better case scenarios for me as just having a
LeBron hater. Why do you want LeBron to play his twilight years in Washington? Is it Jordan Brewing? You want him to go through Jordan? Oh,
yeah,
no.
that sucked. That wasn't good for anyone.
Full Jordan. No, it would just be so funny to me that many teams would pass on Bronny only for Washington to take him with the 52nd pick. It would just be funny. I actually would be upset because I don't want to see that happen to LeBron. But okay, I think I mentioned this to you before, Matt. I'm waiting for the article. I'm waiting for the basketball revolution in France article because I don't know what's going on, but they are pumping out prospects. And in this first round, there's 4 French players. Obviously, the big ones are research. How do you say his last name?
Zachary Risacher, I believe. Risacher.
Risacher. SAR. And so those are the 1 and 2. So my answer is just kind of all the French guys. I do like when a guy kind of comes out of nowhere. So this guy, Tijane Salon, I've seen his name, but it seems like he's really rising. 6'9", 210, power forward, and I'm like, why is this guy starting to appear more? Is he, I don't know, maybe he's a Koulibaly or I don't know, maybe he's someone who's kind of special who for whatever reason was not on major radar. So I like guys like that. I find him exciting, and because of the nature of this draft, he's just a guy I'm sort of picking as someone I'm excited to see, but so obviously a total guess. So,
I mean, if you want to know about him, he's comparing him to Koulibaly. Koulibaly has way more ball skills, but Saloon is way bigger than him. He's he's got major bust potential. But if he gains a good fundamental knowledge about basketball, he's a hyper athlete. He's big, and it looks like he has decent shooting potential as well. So I think that's why he's jumping up boards, is because I think it's going to go for teams who are we don't need anyone right now, but what's something that could develop into an awesome thing down the line.
Mm-hmm. I also for me it's almost there's certain draft terminology where I'm I see what you're doing and I disagree. And one is when I read the word raw, I'm I see that as good. When this guy's so athletic, he does a backflip and dunks. Don't want him on my team. And I'm I think I do want him actually. And it reminds me of a Yelp review when people are man, service was horrible. It was so dirty. They were rude. Best food I've ever had in my life.
Is that how you describe Bruno Caboclo?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Well, he's an example of exactly why this stuff does actually kind of matter. Because he's got that. He had the Joey Graham vibe too, right? Where it's kind of like, wow, this guy looks great. You know, Joey Graham's chiseled. This guy's awesome. But I mean, I remember that with DeMar, right? Best athlete in the draft, can't do anything. He sucks. And it's like, well, not that he sucks, but it was sort of like, this guy's the best athlete. It's like, best athlete amongst like all these other hyper athletes? That seems relevant.
I mean, DeMar's an interesting guy because there's few players in NBA history who have improved at every element like DeMar has. Like, he's an amazing story. I mean, part of it is like he never really got injured, so he had the opportunity to keep like improving on his game and not having to rehab for so long, and he got minutes immediately as well, which, you know, these reps will help. But like, testament to him, man. It's like incredible. Even into his 30s, he would add these incredible leaps and like playmaking and stuff. He's a great story. Yeah,
and even the last, well, we were joking about this a few podcasts ago, Andy, but like, he started to like, you know, a couple times a year do this like 360 pass thing, which I'm like, wow, you weren't doing that in your 20s. This is This is wild. Okay, let's do some Raptors draft talk. You know, this is going to be sort of like more specific. Maybe your answer is also Edey here. I don't know. I mean, it does seem like he has some serious potential to go in the lottery, which the Raptors are not in. Matt, who do you want I mean, if you have someone for 31, great. But, you know, really that 19th pick, who do you want the Raptors to take?
Yeah, you know, Raptors HQ put out this like writing position thing. So I wrote a 3,000-word article on top 10 players I want the Raptors to pick at 19. So I'm very versed in this possibility. A guy who's actually been, sorry?
I said, okay, this is great.
Yeah, a guy who like I kind of feel like they should go for. I mean, I love Edey. Obviously, I would take Edey in a heartbeat if he got to the Raptors. But Keyshawn George looks interesting to me. 6'8", 20 years old. Like, he's really mocked in like the Raptors spot. Just an incredible jump shooter who doesn't really seem to have like maybe the athleticism that you would ideally want in that position, but his jumper fucking rule. There's a little bit of Gary Trent Jr. in his game, and if you know me, that's as damning a thing I could say about a player. But
he's 6'8".
He's 6'8". He is 6'8", and he does like some of the things. Does he have like that dog in him? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he's a little soft. But where the Raptors are picking, I don't know, a guy that size, and he's got the dimensions they want. Be an interesting choice.
I like it. Keyshawn George, yeah. Andy, is there someone that jumps out to you?
Edey was the pick, the first thing I read, and it was like they had Edey for the Raptors, and I'm like, you're just doing that because he's Canadian. And I just know that some American basketball guys are like, well, Canada loves him because he's Canadian, so let's pick him. Okay, how do you?
Not totally wrong though.
But how do you? No, it's not. And like, I would love to have him because of that too. But like, fuck you for thinking that. We don't just love them because they're Canadian. He's also good at basketball. Okay, what's his name? Kalel? Is that how you say his name? Kalel? Kalel Ware?
Kalel Ware, yeah. I think Kalel Ware, yeah.
Ware, yeah.
I've read a lot about him. I haven't heard his name a lot to be an expert on that.
Okay, so then let me read this thing because I certainly don't know anything about it. It basically just says that he's a big man. He's a center, and he basically, the thing that jumped out at me about the rundown of all the guys around this like span of the draft is that he's a big man who can actually space. He shot 43% from 3-point range last season, so that's enticing and exciting. And also my man Colin Ward Henniger of CBS Sports says that this young man could be the steal of the draft. So I'm always interested when someone, you know, who knows a lot more about it than I do says something like that, because I'm like, okay. And then if you look, like a lot of other this is like the CBS Sports is quite complete here. It's really great. There's like 6 mocks. It's great, and none of them have him going higher. Or sorry, some of them have him going higher, but most of them have him going lower. So like, I think this is a real possibility the Raptors could get this guy, and the fact that some people are like, "Oh, yo, what a steal." Most of them have him dropping down to like where the Knicks are, but that's the same thing for Edie, right? Like a lot of these boards have Edie going to the Knicks. I've noticed, which is very interesting. They're all worried about Hartenstein leaving in free agency.
Can I throw a funny name out there? Is that okay?
Sure. Yes.
Of course.
Do you guys know about do you know about Johnny Furphy as a prospect?
What's his name?
Johnny
Furphy.
Yeah, he's a raw. That's a raw prospect right there.
He's so 6'9", 6'9", great shooter out of Kansas. He's basically Grady Dick again. White guy, mop of hair, projected to go around the Raptors. I think it would be so funny if they drafted Grady. You have Abaji, Grady, and then Furphy. This is the same program, same position, 3 years in a row. It'd be amazing.
Furphy is very much Grady Dick.
Okay,
Grady Dick's little brother. It looks like he looks like.
You basically stole my concept there a little bit. So first of all, your guys' name's way funnier. So I just automatically lose there. But Jared McCain's comp is Emmanuel Quickly. So and it's also in DraftNet, it's Bryn Forbes, which is hilariously unexciting to me. But
yeah, I love it when it's draft comparison is some fucking below average player. You're like, ugh.
Like, are we getting Bryn Forbes?
I don't want that.
But
rough
yeah,
stuff.
you know, is 6'3" guard, can shoot. You know, like if you're a Duke guy, I feel like you're coming out of a pretty strong program. So we've been talking about like needing a good guard for years, right? So I think, you know, one of the major sort of undoings of this last period of time with the Raptors is like these fringe guys not turning out, and you know, like guys like Malachi. Sorry, Andy, but you know,
how dare you?
Yeah, you know, like just not.
Did you score 50 points in an NBA game?
Fair enough. I did not.
Good point.
It is hilarious that he scored like 3 points the next game.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, so Jared McCain's like kind of that vibe. Another guy that I'm like just seems like he's ready to go, good shooter, you know. And I feel like I also just never want there to be I'm scarred by the era that was this last Raptors team of bad shooting. So I never want to have a bad shooter on the team again. But yeah, Tristan Da Silva is a guy. Bleacher Report has him at 20. And then, you know, other things I've seen, like he's quite a bit like lower. There's another one I'm looking at, he's at 30. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the Raptors can just do better with that spot. But it's like small forward, power forward, good shooter, you know, doesn't have like a ton of athleticism, but it's sort of like high IQ. Also hilariously boring comp, Trey Lyles.
Very good.
I want basically what I'm saying is I want Trey Lyles or Bryn Forbes on this team.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be kind of nice.
I was going to say, Tristan Da Silva is 23 years old. And last time the Raptors drafted a guy that old, it was Rafael Arujo.
Oh, Hoffa.
Wait.
On.
Oh, yeah. So he's 23.
So he's very old.
Would he
He's pretty old.
But yeah. So like, would they be drafting a guy that's older than Scotty? Yeah.
Yes.
I guess so.
Like at least a year.
I mean, the very, you know, the cynical part of me is like the Raptors have generally, you know, done very well with those older guys that don't warrant that much money on their next contract with those later picks. But yeah, you know, Rafael Arujo. Also, this guy's Brazilian too, so
Yeah,
maybe that's
we're
maybe
so scarred.
Yeah, maybe
we're so
that's
scarred by the Brazilians. Okay, Matt, talk to me about Ryan Dunn a little bit, because I see him popping up a lot in the Raptor spot, and I know that like the thing about him is that like great defense, but needs to basically make an offensive side of his game. Like, what's the like? How do you feel about if the Raptors were to take him with 19?
With 19, I'd be a little disappointed. With 31, I think it's an interesting flyer because I think you did nail the basics on him, in that he's like the best defender in the entire draft. 6'8", incredible athlete, incredible instincts, plays as hard as you could possibly want, but is also, maybe even including centers, the worst shooter of the entire draft. So I think an awesome spot for him would be in, if you gave him like the backup, like Aaron Gordon roles, where he just had to be in the dunker spot offensively. Like, that could work with Jokic. If you had like someone who could like stir the drink to that degree, he could be a little olive offensively. Yeah, that's a weird analogy. But
I like that.
So I mean, you would draft him hoping that you could build a shot for him, and with the second round pick, I don't know. It's maybe worth a flyer.
This draft is so nuts because one thing will have him, the Raptors taking Ryan Dunn, and then like Khalil Ware, whatever, he's down at like 30, and then the next one you look at, they're swapped, and Ryan Dunn's being taken with like the 29th pick, and the Raptors take it. It's like this is nuts, and then some have Edie at 19, and then some have Edie it's like 10. It's like, what?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Ryan Dunn. When I wrote this article about a month ago, Tankathon had him at 31, ESPN had him at 31, The Athletic had him at 31, The Ringer had him at 40, and Hoop Intellect had him at 26.
Wow.
So
he's up, yeah.
This draft is going to be the first draft ever where someone who is invited to like the lottery green room is not drafted at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be someone...
Especially seeing the second round isn't even until the next day.
Yeah,
that'll happen almost certainly.
Which is nuts. And why?
Okay, wait. Okay, just before you go there, I want to use Matt's expertise too. So, SB Nation has Yves Missy, center from Baylor, going to the Raptors. What's the deal with him?
I don't know him as well. He's being kind of off my radar, and this is the reason for that is that I anticipate the Raptors taking a center at 19 that's not Edie, and me being so mad about it. So it's just me protecting myself. Blocking it out. So I apologize. I feel stupid kind of talking about it.
Okay, then same question. Kyle Filipowski?
I mean, Filipowski is very Olynyk. Very, very Olynyk. Like good shooting potential, good ball mover. Okay, like probably a better athlete than Olynyk is, especially at this point of his life. He's an old man. I think he would be an interesting fit with Scotty. I don't think if they got him at 19, I think I would be like totally fine with it.
Cool.
You say Filipowski?
Kyle Filipowski, yeah.
Why? Oh man, no. You said it right. I just couldn't remember. But
I'm sorry. Kelly Olynyk's an old man, not Kyle Filipowski.
They're both old.
No, Filipowski is 20 years old.
Right.
Okay. Andy sort of alluded to this, but Matt, I'm curious for you told me you had a nice devil's advocate take here. But they're trying something new. So the second round of the draft, which is pick 31 to 60, generally when people tune out. Famously, Jokic got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. So shit like that happens. They've decided to do it the next day, not just the next day, but the next day, I believe at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Prime time. What? Yeah. First, tell me why you think that's happening, and then I want all of us to.
Is
it's
it
our
televised?
job. It is televised.
Okay.
It's and then it's all of our jobs to make this like appointment viewing, appointment television to make this exciting. So I want to hear our best ideas. But first, Matt, why is it actually happening?
Why? Like, do you want me to tell you like the reasoning behind it happening, like,
or why you actually think it's good?
Oh, why I think it's good. Okay, great. From this perspective, from the Raptors' perspective, we have the first pick of that round. So after the first, like the draft is so fast and furious with all these teams all over the place that the next day, and it's one of the biggest nights of the year for the owner of an NBA team. Like they love the draft, they're obsessed with the draft. So if the first round doesn't go their way, and there's a guy in the scouting department is really high on, or a guy who slips, if they want the absolute best chance of getting that player, they have to deal with the Raptors. The Raptors have a lot of leverage going into the second round with every team in the league that would be in that position.
Okay,
so that's why it's exciting for Raptors fans.
That also, I didn't even think about it. That might be great for trades.
Yeah, it would be great for
just action.
Yep. So I think like that's why it could be kind of fun.
I mean, you totally won me over.
I'm instantly like, oh, what a good idea. I was like, what a disaster. Now I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
I had a very porous opinion that really was based in nothing other than, them trying to jazz up something that hasn't been that exciting. But honestly, totally wrong. They're a successful billion-dollar organization. They're totally right. Okay, this doesn't need jazzing up, but still. It's all of our assignments to make this as entertaining as possible. Who wants to go first? Andy?
I got you. Every time a team drafts, you have to also draft. Well, like you don't draft. You bring up an old band that's getting back together.
Okay.
And they play a short song about who you're drafting.
Cool.
Right? Either that, so it's like, oh, here's 3 Doors Down. They're back, and there's like Zach Edey, or it's like
they're original songs, not their old songs. They're doing
no, all new material,
Okay,
so that could also use a little. That could use a little jazzing up also, let's be honest. No one wants to really hear the new 3 Doors Down song. But that is the level of band we're looking at getting.
I'm a fan.
Okay, well, that's embarrassing for you. But anyways, that or it's the Sandman. Get the Sandman to host the whole thing with the guitar. Toronto Raptors draft number 31. You do one of those.
That'd be great.
That's awesome.
You would.
That's my idea.
Funny Sandman story, really quick. Last time he was in Toronto filming, I knew through a friend people like where he stayed. The people he stayed at, he loves building decks, and he asked them, "Hey, I love building decks. Is it okay if I repair and build you a deck?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever. You're Adam Sandler. You can do whatever the fuck you want with my place." And he built them like an immaculately beautiful deck.
Whoa.
Just wild. You must have already told me that like, because I'm like, wait, I think I've heard this before, and it must be from you, right? Like it has to be from you.
I'm the deck story guy.
Okay? Yeah, for sure you are. Yeah.
Matt, what's your jazzing up the already good idea that is this draft?
I feel like it builds off of the Sandler thing a little bit, but it worked for Jokic. Taco Bell commercial during every single pick. Right when they're about to announce the pick, we cut away a hard cut into a Taco Bell commercial, and we only find out afterwards who they picked.
They're like, this is the Gordita bunch. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have that many tacos. So.
There's also like every few picks is sponsored by a different Taco Bell menu item. These are the Gordita bunch. These are the Taco Supremes.
That's good.
Yeah. It's good. You're right about that.
It's great. So I had 2 ideas. One is a bit mean, I guess, but they when they get drafted, they go up on the stage. I guess if it's not Adam Sandler, it's going to be the other guy. But their first interview is by someone who was drafted the previous night. So like if you're drafted first overall, you conduct the interview to 31. So it's like a players interviewing players, just a hot mess. And yeah, so I sort of just want to
make it like 40 seconds, but ask like 3 questions. Okay, go.
Like these young guys who have no media training yet.
Yeah, they
just really like they're too tall, like it's hard to frame. Like it's just it's really good stuff.
The suit's too big.
Yeah, the suits. Yeah, they have to have another suit for
they
the next
always
day.
have the suits are too big, Yeah.
So that's good. And the other idea was to basically like there's like you sort of like gamify it a little bit, and you take the 30 most popular TikTok trends, and when whoever gets drafted comes on stage, they have to like do one of those TikTok trends on the spot. And I think that would also be disastrous. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. I don't know, but it would be just they'd rake in a lot of money, and
this sounds like something like some executive somewhere would actually think is a good idea to do. Like that's where I'm coming from. Let's actually do this. You know what I mean? Like we're having a laugh here, and they would be like, "Well, this is actually going to happen, though. Like you're going to see that happen in 2 years."
I mean, they've already done that. They've already done some like TikTok stuff at All-Star games.
Okay, I'll one up that
TikTok stuff.
They stole TikTok stuff. I'll one up it, and that just take all of those guys who do the like the fast Simon Says guy. Get him. Get the stacking chairs guys. Get those guys. Get the lady with the hoops, and she does all the hoop stuff. Get all of them, and they do a big combined show in the middle of the round 2 or something.
Yeah. I love the Simon Says guy being in there too. He's really going to disrupt the flow of everything else that's happening.
Yeah,
he's pushy. He's pushy.
Have him doing his thing the whole time. Just over like speaking over people, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay, here we go. We got this. All right. Last question, guys. Where was it here? Okay. Where was my goddamn last question? Wait, that was it.
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, the last question. Commercial.
Yeah.
Well, at least we ended on a fucking bang, man.
Yeah, my last question. Was that a good question or?
Yeah. Are you guys hanging around or what's happening?
Yeah, last question.
Last question. What are you guys up to? Yeah.
Fred Supreme. Okay, Maddie, what's up? What do you want to plug? Let the people know about what's going on.
Yeah, every Thursday at 8 a.m., me and a bunch of my friends, we perform improv in the Don Valley. Different locations in the Don Valley every single week. But if you want to track us down, we do a lot of like should have said and really just fun improv games.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all in the Don Valley Brickworks area, or just like you have to actually find you guys like...
every time. Sometimes by Brickworks, sometimes like you really need to look for us.
And I guess be careful too, because there's that like hogweed everywhere, right? Where chicken.
Gotta be careful with that. Get that wild parsley. You don't want to get in that wild parsley.
Wild parsley. Well, how would I say hogweed?
No, there's hogweed's the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hogweed, it's a thing, right?
No, that's a thing. Yeah.
Woo.
I was just adding on. I was yes-anding you. Matt knew it. Matt knew that.
Yeah.
I don't like yes-anding. Our improv doesn't do that.
Last question. Do you guys like hogweed?
Yes. And I also like wild parsnip.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it tastes really good.
Great.
Guys, this
really
is great.
Crushing it at the end here.
Yeah, we nailed it. Thanks for listening, everybody. By the way, we are recording this Monday the 10th and putting this out Tuesday the 11th. This is our new slot. We've been all over the place. Andy's been accommodating because I had a baby. But yeah, we're going to be recording on Mondays, putting it on Tuesday. Also make sure there's a Raptors Republic draft party coming up at 3 Brewers. So get your tickets, go to that. It's going to be fun. We're going to try and make it out for sure. Matt, hopefully you can come too. That'd be awesome.
Basically next door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd
Let's
be
do
awesome.
it. Subscribe to Raptors Republic. Like and subscribe to us. Help us out. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.